System 1 loaded. Booting up system. Loading.
Gabriel Valentine.
Loading.
Dan Brozo. This is the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown. 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 Meltdown.
How awesome is that intro?
So awesome.
What's up, guys? You are watching the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown.
Indeed.
I'm here with the always amazing Dan Brozo.
Thank you.
And
I'm here with Gabe. Also always amazing every time.
You're not here with me. I'm here with myself.
Okay, sure.
That's okay. Just kidding.
However you want to present it.
We're homies.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We just did another episode. This is episode 2.
It is, yeah.
Pretty crazy. I say just did because we did what we did last week, and we did our interview first.
We did.
So
we're probably going to continue to do that.
Really? Yeah, probably.
Scheduling is difficult.
Because the
setup is difficult.
Because the guests keep coming on time. So
yeah, start showing up late, guys. Come on.
So let's just bounce right into news. Actually.
Yeah. So one cool thing that was just announced like today, which is February 18th. Sorry, just. Yeah. Full disclosure what day it is when we're recording. Nightcrawler was just cast for X-Men Apocalypse.
Dudeness.
And yeah, Cody Smith McPhee, who's a youngish dude, and he looks really young. He looks like a kid. He was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. He was like the son in that movie. And
Dude, still haven't seen that. That's on my on my list though.
Pretty dang good one.
Yeah,
it's a pretty dang good one. I liked it more than the other one, the James Franco one.
Well, I heard they're gonna go all the way up. By the way,
they ought to.
Yeah, they're gonna do like the whole series.
But yeah, that's cool. He was the son in that movie. He's in Let Me In. He's Norman and Paranorman.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's
now.
like the kid who loses his sketchbook, and the apes find it, and they're like, "Whoa, these are cool." And they like bond over it.
I can see that. I can totally see that guy.
I can see him doing well as that too.
Got a picture of him right there.
Yeah,
see?
And like
totally not for.
Yeah, no, we'll put a picture up on the screen for this.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I was kind of when they had like the like Hispanic dude as Nightcrawler, I was down, but he was a little too like.
Well, it was funny because he was Hispanic, and then they made him like from Transylvania.
Yeah, they made him like a weird, like random.
And they found him in Virginia.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm not sure.
So I like this kid. I think he'll be a damn fine Nightcrawler.
That'll be sweet.
Yeah, it's just one more reason that I'm stoked for a new X-Men movie.
Are you more on the X-Men level than you are with like I guess the current Marvel movies like Avengers and stuff? Are you more like an X-Men dude?
I like X-Men more than Avengers.
Really?
Honestly, yeah.
No way. Yeah. That's crazy. It's usually
I like the heroes from X-Men more than I like the heroes from the Avengers. I'm not a huge Thor guy. I'm not a huge Hulk guy. I like Iron Man. I mean, who doesn't like Iron Man?
That's totally insane.
And I don't like Captain America that much. I mean, I like all of these heroes, but I don't love them. I love Wolverine. I love Cyclops. I love Jean Grey. I love Professor X. I love Magneto. I love, like, X-Men heroes are cool to me, and I feel like I grew up more with them than I grew up with any of the Avengers heroes.
That's cool, yeah.
I, like, grew up watching the X-Men cartoon.
See, last week I could let the Walking Dead thing go, but I can't let the Captain America thing go, dude. I'm sorry.
I like Captain America. Captain America,
no, I'm just kidding.
Wolverine's up here, you know?
All right. That's cool, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you not agree with that?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
I don't at all, actually. Okay. But that's okay. I still love you.
Sure.
I'm like kind of ashamed to be doing this show with you now.
Are you really?
No, I'm totally just kidding.
Come on.
Dude, no, I have a Captain America tattoo.
Oh, that's right.
Here.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I've showed you before.
I've seen all your tattoos. I've seen all of your
yes,
embarrassing tattoos. He's got an
They're not
Offspring
embarrassing.
one, a Blink-182 one.
You're embarrassed by them to be seen with me, but I'm not embarrassed.
No, well, you don't wear your Bermuda shorts that often, so that doesn't happen.
My Bermuda shorts?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So The Order 1866 is a PS4 game.
Yeah.
That is, I think, getting released this week. Yeah, it's getting released this week.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. It looks really cool. The big controversy over it, though, is that the gameplay, it's like 5 hours of gameplay total for this hugely anticipated game.
They keep getting smaller.
They do. And It's more. I wanted to have a discussion with you about how you feel about that more than like, oh, this game only has 5 hours of gameplay. Like in our childhoods, we could
worked for that video game.
Did work for it, but you could hypothetically get through like a Mario Brothers 3 in like you could beat it in like a couple hours if you used warp whistles and you just went to town on it and you skipped a bunch of content.
Or 4 minutes if you used the famous, world hack.
I don't know about the world hack. We'll talk about this off the air.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. 4 minutes.
You guys know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
So, like, speedrunners can get through an entire old game that we hold on, like, these very high pedestals, like Donkey Kong Country or like, Mega Man X series, like, all those games. You could get through them, hypothetically, very, very quickly. And, like, in my head, I was a kid struggling with every level, so it took me, like 3 months to get through, like, Mega Man X, for example.
Hold on.
Ocarina of Time took me, like...
Dude, you straight
6
up
months.
You straight up just had a back in my day moment.
Yeah? No, that's cool.
No.
I'm going to start having more of those.
And we also just nucked again. So
yeah, we'll stop doing that. We promise.
We need like a nuck jar every time.
Every time
we have to put money in or something.
Yeah, or do something embarrassing. Yeah. And we'll film it. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about a game that's only 5 hours long in this stage of like video game life, where games are supposed to be like 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours of gameplay, or Final Fantasy that's like 60 hours of gameplay.
That's with cutscenes, I would
assume so,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, usually...
Basically, somebody... I forget who it was. There was a
so is there like only 2 hours of actual gameplay? Because the rest of it, or 3 hours? The rest of it's 2 hours of cutscenes?
Pretty long. I have not watched the video yet. A YouTube channel released like a full gameplay video before any of the reviews have even come out. Like you're not supposed to release reviews until a certain time.
Right, yeah.
But they released a full gameplay video, and it's 5 hours long. So I imagine they left the cutscenes in if you're going to do a gameplay video. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the thing is about that, the first thing that comes to mind is probably the size. Yeah. So maybe, I mean, I don't know. Cause
like size in which respect? Like the size?
Oh, size of, how like wide the game is, replay value.
Gotcha.
Is it, are they going to have this massive open world where you could beat the game in 5 hours, but there's also all this other cool stuff that you can keep going back and doing. So then that kind of goes into a whole nother realm. But also too,
I don't know what the case is for this
like
game.
Graphics.
Yeah,
because I totally respect the art. If someone's going to be making a 5 hour game with that in mind, and they set it up that way to where for the next 5 hours, it's just going to be full on awesomeness, and you're also going to be able to complete the adventure. Which I've also noticed that's not a big thing anymore with a lot of games these days. They have these massive MMOs where it doesn't really matter if you beat the game or not. Like for me, I have to have resolution. Like I have to
something
finish
like World of Warcraft,
game.
which I played for years. You don't ever beat the game.
See, I can't do that.
I have the last boss, but then you want to beat him again and again to get all the loot that he
I have to save the princess, dude. Like I have to kill the bad guy. I have to save the world, or else it doesn't feel like it's just like a chess game that goes on forever. That doesn't seem
well. In an MMO,
me,
you win when you are the most powerful thing in existence on your server. You're like, I'm the most highly rated heals druid.
But how
on the
does
server.
how does that solve the storyline? That it doesn't close the book. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't. No.
So
yeah.
That's why I stopped reading the dictionary, because it just like kept going on and
just
on.
Keep adding
and
new
on,
words
and
to
just,
it.
They keep adding new words, and I'm like, dude,
come on, Webster.
Forget this. Old school, man.
Yeah. So 5 hours for a game, it seems semi-reasonable to me. And a lot of games are trying to like bloat the amount of time it takes to play them. Like I love the Far Cry games, but there's so much side stuff, and I want to do all of it that I get bored with the game halfway through, because I'm like, all right, how many little encampments do I need to save? And like I've done like the same exact process in a different setting like 600 times now.
Yeah.
And I don't even care about the story anymore, because I've done all this tedious stuff. So I'd almost prefer a 5 hour game that is awesome and super fun and engaging and thrilling and exciting than something that's 30 hours long where 3/4 of that is tedious grinding and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm also used to Final Fantasy games and RPG games.
So
you're going to be playing that. That's a lifelong commitment.
Totally.
So
and when I was 12, 13, I was dedicated to the grind Now I just don't have the patience for it anymore.
Yeah.
I thought I would get older and have more patience. I have so much less patience for stuff like that now. I can't do those games anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes you mad. And speaking of stuff that makes you mad.
Rumors. Let's hear your second rumor.
All right. So, actually, I don't even need to look at my phone for this one because I remember it. And I don't think this isn't a spoiler, but well, this might make a lot of
spoiler alert just in case.
Spoiler alert if you don't want to hear it.
We don't know the topic.
It's spoiler alert for the new Avengers movie.
Okay.
But not specifically Age of Ultron, more specifically for Civil War, the Captain America movie that will be following next year. So it looks like one of the writers for Captain America and Age of Ultron, or Captain America Civil War and Avengers Age of Ultron, came out saying that Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Iron Man, might be a villain in Civil War. So yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Civil War books at all, but there's a lot of the superheroes are on opposite sides of this political struggle. Without going into too much detail, and it looks like Captain America, who obviously it'll be based around, is going to be on the opposite side of what Iron Man is promoting. So
I'm down for that.
Again, rumor, I don't know, but
it would only make sense, though,
Robert
right?
Downey Jr. kind of confirmed it in this really awkward interview that you can watch if you just you can Google that or YouTube that, because they asked him about it and he's like, well, I wouldn't call him a villain. And then he pretty much goes,
Ulysses S. Grant a villain?
Depends on who you ask, man.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's that. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't see why they wouldn't do that. That seems like a rumor that is kind of just like going to be true.
Be good for story, man. Be really good for a story.
For sure. And he's like kind of a smarmy, like little douchey guy.
Yeah. I could totally see that.
He'd be a great villain.
Yeah.
Smart alecky. Yeah, for sure. And there's already a little bit of tension between those two characters in the first Avengers movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, always, I guess.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like, because his dad.
Between all those characters.
History with his dad and stuff like that. So it's kind of like Captain America thinks he's
the only
like
characters that are like
badass.
really getting along in Avengers are Iron Man and the Hulk. I feel like.
Yeah.
And they're like in the lab and he's like, let's talk science. We can like
let's talk science.
With each other.
The two scientists, like these like losers over here. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm stoked, though. I mean,
regardless,
Marvel's killing it right now. So
totally,
pretty stoked. I'm sure you guys agree.
Cool.
But let's get to Dizzy Doom.
Talk about some comic books.
Let's talk about some comic books.
Let's do it. Time for Dizzy Doom's Comic Boom.
That is such a cool intro, by the way.
I know. Real cool. So you want me to start?
Yeah.
I think I got something back here. So the first one I grabbed, and again, I am not hugely versed in comic books. This show is like driving me to be that way. And I always wanted to be, but it just wasn't something that I was like super into. I was into video games and music and that kind of stuff.
That's what this show's all about, though, bringing everything together.
Exactly.
And exploring new things.
This has been like a cool experience for me to be able to learn about them and like see all this cool stuff and like these side stories and things that I didn't know were even happening in these universes. So this one I picked, this is going to be like our mainstream one. Let's call this our mainstream one for the day. This is the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. And I'm always down for a good faux perspective storyline. I like seeing what's going on with the bad guys.
Can I see that, actually?
Yeah, take a look at that.
Pretty sweet, dude.
So this is following the Sinister Six, which are the enemies that are trying to take down Spider-Man, obviously. And this is this series launched right around the time when the Superior Spider-Man launched, and this is kind of the counter perspective. And honestly, what grabbed my attention on it is the awesome retro art on the cover. Gabe, show that real quick. It's got like a
pretty sweet
50s, 60s like mod style art on the front of it, which is just like grabbed my attention immediately. And that's I remember one Christmas I used to collect Spider-Man cards, and one Christmas there was a year, I think it was like 1997 or 1996, they released like the the retro Spider-Man cards like re-released on like nicer cardstock. And
I remember
stuff.
those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
dude,
I had that
I remember
art
those.
style.
Those were awesome.
And like the burglar was one of the enemies, like Spider-Man's first foe, the burglar. And so like I kept these, and I always thought they were really cool, just to like see the history of it all. And so that art style really jumped out to me.
The art in this is insane, man.
Yeah, and on the inside,
really
it's like modern, really clean, like just it's really pretty stuff. So I grabbed that one because for the two reasons: the art style, and I like seeing a foe's perspective, and I like the foes that are part of the Sinister Six too, which are Boomerang, Beetle, Shocker, Overdrive, and Speed Demon. Those are always some of my favorite Spider-Man foes. So it looks really cool.
I love the title too, The Superior Foes of Spider-Man. It's awesome, dude.
Exactly.
I like that.
And it was one of those ones that I think it was supposed to be a 14-issue run, and then it kept going because people really dug it.
Nice.
And like it was like a sleeper hit.
It's like Batman Beyond, and that's still going on, and the Ultimate Spider-Man's still going on.
Rad.
Yeah,
all right,
dude.
so what do you got?
Dude.
You're bringing the independent artist.
I'm bringing the independent artist right now. We got Peachy Clinker by Jack Habiger. I think I'm pronouncing your name right, dude.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm not. But Peachy Clinker, check this out. Let's do a close-up view of that.
Yeah.
Peachy Clinker. It's pretty funny.
It's a great name, by the way.
It is a great name. And normally, he also gave me this really cool mug that I was just drinking out of, actually.
Yeah.
So check that out. So if you guys...
Some original Peachy Clinker mug action.
He's pretty easy to find if you type in Peachy Clinker. It's the only one I could find online. So go check it out. Support him. He's 14 years old, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. And he did some stuff at Comic Fest. We both did stuff at Comic Fest last year. He has a pretty insane resume for being just a 14-year-old. I shouldn't even say just. No, forget. X out that just word. Not even just. He's a 14-year-old. And so he's just killing it right now.
It's like a theme we're seeing on the show already. There's people that are like doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, like Mike last week. And
Mike talking about starting Comic-Con when he was like 15, and Jack putting out a comic book at age 14. Like, you kids these days.
It's pretty impressive, man. But you guys should all check out Peachy Clinker. It's a really crazy story. There's some pretty interesting characters. We got Gas Fink. We got Jimmy Filth. He plays a guitar.
Yeah,
and
there's like a punk rock theme going on in this.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like a little noir. So if it's like noir comedy with a little bit of like old school art, like old school comic strip art.
Yeah,
like really
and a little
swell.
bit like breaking the fourth wall jokes in there too and stuff.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Cool.
Really sweet. So this is a first of that he's got, and he's gonna be. Check this out. This is one. Check this out real quick.
I didn't even look at the back.
So yeah, you can kind of see where he's going with this. He's
see that.
Yeah, check this out, Gene. So yeah, he's going to be doing an event actually that you guys should all come out to. I'm going to plug that for him.
Yeah.
Burger Revolution on March 7th, if you can make it out. He's putting together a bunch of bands, and we're all going to be going out there and playing. Digital Lizards of Doom is playing there that day. But check this guy's art out, man. It's insane. He's awesome.
I like it.
So Peachy Clinker, go right now. Peachy Clinker, Google that. Check it out.
It's got a very retro feel to it, man. Like, almost like reminds me of like Fritz the Cat or something, man.
Yeah, Fritz the Cat, Popeye.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's real cool. Awesome. All right. So now we're getting to the wild card Dan pick.
Wild card.
I picked this based off more for like hilarity reasons than anything else.
What'd you bring me, dude?
Quasar.
I
know nothing about this character.
Dude. I remember
when I looked at it, I saw the name, I saw his outfit, and I just like, man, this is the stupidest looking hero ever. And I'm sorry if your dad made this comic or something, but this is like the other side of comics for me where I'm like,
for all the hardcore Quasar fans,
make it cool, dude. This guy, show that to the camera real quick. He looks like He-Man and Hercules, like the Hercules TV show combined. Yeah, he's got the headband. It's just,
if
you want your comic to like be far-reaching, and be something. And I mean, this is very
Quasar.
retro. This is like from like the late 70s or early 80s. What's the year
Dude,
on that?
this is 88, man. This came out the year we were born.
The year we were born. This is the kind of stuff we were born. The world we were born into.
Oh, you guys just set it up for us.
Exactly. Thank you, authors of
Thanks for the
Quasar.
setup, Quasar authors.
Oh my God. Okay, but there are some NES
Cool.
ads in there.
Yeah.
That is actually, now I love this book.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the moral of the story is, and I think you guys have figured it out, comic book authors and artists, make it cool. Make it cool. I'm going to read the Foes of Spider-Man because it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read Quasar because I look at him and he looks like a dork, you know? Like, yeah.
Again, it depends on who you ask. I'm gonna read
true.
Quasar. Can I?
Are you gonna read
Can I have it? Can I
have
keep it?
Quasar.
Sweet, man.
You can for sure
And that's
have Quasar.
It's really cool. Like, I mean, last week the comics we discussed and stuff, and then this week with these ones. And the thing I want to always go back to is that this is just so much fun. Just you walk into a comic book store and you just discover. I mean, and I think last time we kind of touched on having a tablet and you can download whatever comics you want. But look, we wouldn't have found Quasar.
No.
We wouldn't have found Quasar if we were looking at
We wouldn't have found that,
iComics or whatever.
NES ad in the middle of it for original Super Mario Brothers. Like. All these little touches, man.
So get out there. Go out there. Support local comics. Support mainstream comics. Support comic book stores. Support everything. Support it all. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't get so plugged in that you lose focus of just this awesomeness.
You never want to lose focus of Quasar.
You don't want to lose Quasar. Look at this. I mean, you can just the smell of it.
Yeah.
I'm like a comic book hippie right now,
No,
but it's
got
awesome.
a great smell to it.
So this is awesome, folks. Check it out. So
Word.
So we got John Noble.
Yeah. So I'm an embarrassingly called Mike at the end of the interview. Stay tuned for that, guys.
So yes, let's get to Commander Echo's guest of honor. This is John Noble.
Has arrived.
All right, you guys ready to rock it? We just had some people walk by and say, all right, rock it. So that's what we're going to do right now. Got John Noble here in the Digital Lizards of Doom studios, Meltdown, air-conditioned lounge. Yeah, and we're going to talk to him about all the stuff he does. Gabe, you have some questions for him from Twitter. You want to start with those? You want to get into some other stuff?
Let's get into those later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just find out more about John, because I don't know who John is. Who's John?
Yeah, you do.
I have no idea.
When you find out, let me know.
How's it going, man? First of all,
Going great. It's air conditioned.
Yeah.
How bad could it be?
It is.
It's nice right now, actually.
Yeah.
It's really nice. In San Diego.
Is that where we are?
We're in San Diego.
Okay.
No, we can say it. We
Okay.
can say we're here.
North
Southern
Park.
California.
It is the Meltdown show live, but
Okay,
but we can say we're in.
Okay. We're in North Park.
North Park. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
specifically.
We can give our latitude and longitude even.
We'll
if
do that later.
you could probably figure that out for us. Actually, we'll get to that in a second. How's it going, though, man?
It's going awesome.
This is really cool. Thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy right now, especially with Eternal. Let's just cut to the chase. Eternal,
Which is March 21st, about 50 miles east of here in beautiful Hucumba Hot Springs, California.
Gonna be rad. A lot of really cool stuff. Who's some of like the awesome people that are playing?
Well, Digital Lizards of Doom is going to be there, of course.
I really actually wasn't plugging myself, but
And if you look at the flyer, it's pretty high up on the list. We're going to have the headliner is Woody McBride on the main stage, or as we like to call it, the other stage, because we have a second stage where we're doing all kinds of adventurous things with music and sound and whatever noise you want to call it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Adventurous Things is right. I was there last year, and let's just say you don't want to miss this for sure. You do not want to miss this.
Give me like a little teaser on what that even means.
Oh, you didn't go last year?
I didn't go last year.
I feel like all my friends were there last year, but
Guess not. Yeah, what do you mean by adventurous things? What's happening in that other tent?
Well, a friend of mine described Eternal as a rave with a capital R. And we had Frankie Bones, who is arguably the founder of the American rave scene, last September. And we can get into this later, but every modular synthesizer requires a dome, and every dome requires a rave, and every rave requires experimental music.
no, let's get into that now.
It's a logical sequence of events. And so we had some very exotic instruments in the middle of the night in horrific conditions with generators and everything, and it went great in September. So we're repeating the experiment. Very experimental, live electronic music, DJs, and everything in between. Stuff you won't find elsewhere.
Yeah, super,
Nice.
super, super cool stuff.
Rad.
So, and the dome was where it was at.
The dome was where it was at. Gabe.
I can say that, right? I'm not
Yes.
trying to.
Play favorites. or
Yeah, I'm
anything?
not playing favorites. I'm just saying. I mean,
What-
it was.
Can you describe this dome to me?
It's a 26-foot diameter geodesic dome. It's white. We have projection lasers, I think, are going to be added. Crazy lighting, UV strobe lights, vertigo
Everything's
inducing.
better
Yes,
with lasers.
everything's better with lasers. And fog. Fog will be added this time. Fog.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right
Very
on.
nice.
And what else? Loud sound. As loud as possible. It goes to 11.
Yeah. It goes to 11.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
Experimental doesn't mean boring.
Yeah, I think that's a very common misunderstanding because, you know, people might think that, well, it's experimental, so I might not like it. There's a
I'm gonna have to think too hard while I
there's a
listen
very
to it.
very large chance I won't like it. But my experiences have been quite different, actually. So
Yeah, well, there's no reason that it has to be polite. Punk rock was experimental. Originally, rock and roll was experimental. Jazz was experimental. The noisiest, craziest EDM you've ever heard was at one time experimental. So maybe we're just doing something new.
I agree. I've been telling you that for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Oh no, only a year, huh?
Only about a year and a half.
Only a
yeah.
year. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so let's talk more about Eternal and how you came about to do it and what's your involvement
Yeah.
with Eternal and how'd you become a festival manager?
I don't know. If you find out, please prosecute the persons responsible. I got booked, very, very misbooked for the so-called ambient tent at Eternal in last March. And I showed up with a modular synthesizer in the middle of a bunch of drum and bass DJs who were playing their idea of ambient, which is slightly down tempo, maybe 110 beats per minute, and not at all what I had in mind. And I suppose I made myself useful, ended up not playing, made a lot of friends, and then came back very energized, great feeling, nice bunch of people, and built a dome because that made sense at the time.
It still makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
It still makes sense.
And in September, came back with that, co-hosting the event this time, in a sense, and that went even better, except we almost killed ourselves because we did 2 nights. And now we're pulling back, we're doing more reasonable, and now I think it's just going to be every 6-month thing.
Awesome.
I'm
Very
a
cool.
suburban dad with a bad habit.
Yeah, and to give another list of, or a smaller list of some of the guys that are playing this year that you're really looking forward to seeing. Not us. This is not a plug. For
Well,
the
no,
band.
there's plugs aplenty. So there's the Noise Cartel umbrella that Digital Lizards of Doom falls under. So who happen to be all in a row. So Dark Lord Gob will be there.
Pretty stoked about that.
Dirty Disciple will be there.
Pretty stoked
Digital
about
Lizards
that.
of Doom will be there. Square Wave will be there.
Square Wave, man.
Leading up to the newly renamed Jack Farrow, who
Yes.
is the old, some people may know him as Rafi Zaki.
Rafi Zaki.
Yeah, who is a live controllerist who I believe is going to bring both an MC and an electric violinist.
Of course.
This time, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
That will be about where we achieve liftoff. And then we're going to go into kind of quiet orbit after that with somebody who's doing a live electronic rendering of the Wagner Ring Cycle.
Oh, yes. So excited for that. It's
was-
not going to be 24 hours. I already asked him before the interview. Actually, it's not going to be the 24 hour.
No, just 90 minutes. It's the condensed version. And last time they did a Vivaldi thing that was much louder than it sounds.
That was pretty cool.
It was.
I don't remember where I was at the time, but I remember being like a meerkat or something, just poking out of my hole and just kind of like, whoa, that's Vivaldi. So that was pretty cool.
And then let's see. After that, we have Ali Bombay, who is probably one of the best ambient DJs going. I actually listen. I don't listen to DJ sets a lot online, but I listen to his.
And this is like actual ambient music.
Oh,
not
yeah.
down tempo drum.
Yeah,
and bass.
he plays Aphex Twin and
Okay.
it's good stuff. And then we just like go completely sideways in the middle of the night. Somewhere in the mix, I'm playing at 2 or 3 in the morning. And we have a few people that I've met recently that are playing a little bit later that are just tremendous. This talent keeps popping out of the woodwork and looking for a place like this to play. So it's a lot of fun to bring the talent out.
I think that's a nice little segue, actually, to go to Fully Patched. Speaking of places for talent to play, you also are the founder of Fully Patched, right?
I am.
Which is becoming a pretty sweet movement in Southern California for underground, electronic, live, experimental music. And tell us a little bit about that too, like how that got started.
Yeah, there's another one that just kind of got out of hand. About 2.5 years ago is August of 2012. Is that 2012? August 2012. We'll go with that. There was a show in L.A. There was a modular synthesizer meet called Noisy by Nature. It was in a sweaty warehouse in downtown L.A., and we all had a blast. It was the first time I played live on this instrument, and we all came home and said, okay, when's the next one? And the guy who threw it said it was going to be in a few months, and a few months turned into many months, and still nothing happening, nothing at all anywhere in Southern California. Come summer of 2013, we all threw our hands up and said, well, somebody's got to do something. And somehow that someone ended up being me.
It's like soccer. It's like the kids all needing a soccer coach, and then like the dad.
Yes, it is exactly like that.
Who's gonna do this?
Who's the sucker this time? And so, of course, the middle-aged programmer with 2 kids made sense to throw this experimental
Yeah, you're not
show.
busy at all.
So I went scouting for a location and found a place, which was a Kava Lounge down on Kettner, near downtown San Diego.
Which is the old
Casbah, the original location. Has a lot of history. And we did a one-off show, or so I thought, in October of 2013. And that was a lot of fun, and it was very stressful. I'd never done a show before like that, and learned a lot of what not to do, I think, how not to promote. But it was a great time, and a lot of energy came out of it. And, of course, I met you shortly before that. There's a whole other story behind that. And they called me back and said, hey, we've got a cancellation. Can you come in and do a show? So I said, sure, and called you, and we went and did that first show on a Sunday night.
That was awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
And they said, do you want to keep coming back? And I said, sure, why not? And so it has turned into a monthly show. We've had people from all over the country, actually, that have played, that happen to be in town. Had Carl Ekdahl from Baltimore, who's playing his Myconids. He's well known in the electronic scene internationally. Derek Basic and Nina Joy Through Noise playing his Twin Braids twice from LA.
Twin Braids is so cool, man.
They are very cool.
Go check out Twin Braids if right now. Well, finish the interview first.
Yeah,
finish the video,
Well,
and then check it out.
Shout out to Basic. He was just playing with Kevin Key yesterday from Skinny Puppy.
No way.
In his studio, yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think I saw some pictures of that on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah, it amazes me when booking, people actually say yes.
Yeah.
And some of the people who say yes, and it's the part that stresses me out the most. I don't mind performing. I love running the show. I love the production side of it. But booking just stresses me out because people are going to, it's
Tell me
like
about
prom every month, they're going to say no. Rejection. And nobody ever says no, really, unless they're truly out of town.
Well, it kind of goes back to what you were saying is you're giving these people a place, us actually, I'll throw myself in that mix, why not? You're giving us a place to play and kind of bringing everything back to what you're talking about, the whole experimental movement with punk rock and rock and roll. I mean, a lot of these scenes jolted because someone would open up a venue specifically for this, and this type of music or this genre of music that no one else really quite got at the time. So, I mean, it's still kind of funny, hearing you explain it and say that you're stressed out about people playing your events. But at the same time, for us that are on the outside of it, or I guess more on the outside of it, it actually doesn't surprise me at all, because it's like, I mean, we need this. You know, we need a scene like this to be happening for this music to continue to be put out there. So, yeah.
It's
so thanks,
fun.
by the way.
Yep, I'm continuously surprised. I've had every kind of music from straight ahead techno to a guy with an electric zither that was run through some electronic processing along with some turntablism and other stuff. It was fantastic.
Wow.
To, you know, very, what you would call straightforward IDM, glitch pop, all in the same show sometimes. And there's something for everyone, and people keep emerging that I just never heard of, and they never heard of me, and they show up and just blow me away every time. And I get to play too.
Well, that's always fun.
And nobody throws fruit at me. Not yet.
Not yet.
So what style of music do you play?
I play I play a lot of instruments, and so I had various times have played big band and swing on wind instruments a long time ago, kind of folk stuff on guitar, I guess.
Okay.
Cat Stevens, Stairway to Heaven. On the Modular, which is pretty much my instrument of choice these days. Ambient loosely, very minimalist. Some verging into just noise or soundscape is really what I like to play. But I've done some here at AC Lounge. I did a live techno set. You know, it's kind of glitchy techno, but it was definitely 4 on the floor, you know, get up and please shake your booty stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I fill in. I'm sort of the utility player at my own shows. If I need something like that, and I know everybody else is like way out in outer space, then I'll do something more conventional. And if I need somebody to just bring lots and lots and lots of noise, then I'll do that.
Okay.
But I have fun with it all. And piano used to be my main instrument. I think this is now classical, mostly.
Dude, he shreds the gnar on classical piano, man.
Really?
Oh yeah. I've seen
I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
No.
That means you're probably pretty good.
No, but I have fun. It's mostly improvisational, classically, and now more jazz influenced.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't play live.
Yeah.
So for somebody that doesn't know what the Modular is, can you describe it a little bit? I mean, we'll take some video.
We'll shoot that later.
Yeah, it's an amazing machine.
Well, everybody associates a modular synthesizer, the look of it, with the old-fashioned switchboards where the operator is patched in patch cords, and that's where it came from, and that is where fully patched came from. It was a double entendre. I had to come up with a name, and it's sort of a biker reference with a full patched. Work with me.
I got
you, man.
And patching up a modular synthesizer, because that's what you do, is you use patch cables to make what is called a patch.
Very clever.
Yeah.
And a patch is whatever you have constituted that instrument to be today.
Okay.
And there is no memory, there are no presets, there's no repeatability. It is what it is right now.
Yeah.
And if you turn a knob, it might completely fall apart or destroy your speakers or do other bad things, or maybe something wonderful. You just you don't really play it so much as manage it.
Yeah.
At least playing live.
Sick.
Yeah. So there's a lot of knobs. I think I counted at one point.
Yeah,
It's
there's
sort
an
of
intense amount of knobs.
sort of OCD, but it's sort of the point of it is
We'll get some video of it
it's
too.
the anti-computer. It's the anti-plug-in. It's the ultimate rejection of computers in some sense, where you've got this raw thing. If the temperature changes in here, it will behave differently. And I have that happen in the middle of gigs where things will speed up or slow down or change pitch or go out of tune. And
I was at a show one time watching you perform, and I think you described it as dangerously live. Is that
Dangerously
what it was?
live.
Dangerously live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is entertaining. The more chance there is of something going terribly, horribly wrong, the more entertaining it is.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the audience can sense it. The performer can sense it.
Yeah. Monster truck madness.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's the monster truck of synthesizers. There's no doubt.
And especially if you're out in the desert, there's not a lot of climate control.
Oh yeah.
There.
No, I found that out at that first Eternal.
Yeah.
It will not work at 43 degrees. It just
Crazy,
it
man.
will not track, so you can't tune it. It just flat won't tune.
Yeah.
Unless you put an electric blanket around it or something. So it wound up being a $6,000 projector holder. I gaff taped a projector to the top of it to shine up under this canopy, and that's what it wound up doing.
So for somebody that's been to a couple big festivals, I've been to Coachella in the past. What's the draw of going to something like Eternal as opposed to those big giant ones? Like what's
That's a
the
good question.
Why should I go to yours as opposed to going to Coachella or Stagecoach or something like that?
I think you go to both. I
Yeah.
think they're different experiences.
I told you he'd say that.
I know.
Yeah.
I knew you'd say that too. I was like, come on, brag a little.
The large festival scene, sort of the Coachella type, sort of passed me by. It was smaller before. I don't know. I'd sort of aged out in a sense. I was off doing startup companies and working a lot and getting married and having kids and all of that, and spent years not really being able to get out much. So that's sort of the other side of all of this.
Okay.
So I can't directly tell you why. I think you ought to do both because it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Something like that is just, crazy excess in every way.
Yeah.
Like many large shows, large productions.
Yeah.
It's about how over the top you can get. Where with Eternal, it is by and for the people making the music and enjoying the music. It's a very family thing. In theory, you could know everybody there.
Yeah.
And I am surprised often at how many people I do know. I run into just walking through that either they're a friend of a friend or something. And so you're making music with people that are your friends. You're making music for people that are your friends. And it's a completely different vibe. It's you can take a chance. And you don't have to worry. As a performer, you can take a chance and not have to worry so much, and they'll go there with you, where you can't quite do that, I think, on a show. On those bigger shows, they've got to deliver the packaged product, which is a very good product. I won't talk any smack on it.
Large amounts of people also, you know it's going to be a large amount of people. So with that, you don't get the experience to hang out with them and get a hot dog with them. You just can't. It doesn't matter how cool they are. It's not to say that those artists aren't really cool dudes and stuff.
Yeah, you're not going to eat a hot dog with Jack White.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
At Coachella,
It just can't. But here at Eternal, it's pretty sweet. It's very reminiscent of last week's episode with Mike Towery.
Yeah.
The pros and cons.
Should you go to Comic-Con or Comic Fest? Go to both. It's a different experience.
So.
Yeah. No, it's
or an experience for a different type of person. Like, I like Coachella, but I get claustrophobic there, and I get kind of agoraphobic, and I'm like, there's too many people here, and I feel too closed in, and I want a little bit more space, and I want a more intimate experience. So it sounds like Eternal would be perfect for somebody that has that kind of vibe going.
Yeah, it's a very DIY ethic. There's no budget. You'd be shocked at how low the budget is for the whole thing, and we pitch in. There's people from
teamwork.
El Centro. There's a lot of teamwork. People doing it for free or less than free, considerably less than free, and just doing it because they love it. They love the music. They love putting on a good party, and there's no trouble. The first one, I was asked, can you put on a security shirt? So I have this bright orange Eternal security shirt on, and I didn't have to do anything. Everybody was so well behaved, and this is 20-somethings, young enough to be my kids, really, a lot of them. That I'm just like, what a great bunch of kids. I mean, just totally behaving themselves, having a great time, and no problems. Where you would expect there to be at something where there's several hundred people in an all-nighter rave thing, there would be something going down, but no.
Were there like zero incidents at the entire?
Zero incidents, no fights, no fights.
No.
Yeah, we had some. We had one guy who drank a little too much at the last one, and so we took him down and he talked to the medics, and he was cool. He just wasn't looking good for a little while, but that was about it. I mean, stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredibly impressive to me.
It's pretty sweet.
Because I back in my younger years went to a lot of desert party raves, and guaranteed there was at least one incident happening. It was just whether it be drugs or somebody's girlfriend was dancing on another dude and a fight broke out or something like that. Guaranteed.
I expected something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't have to do a thing. Either one, and we don't really expect it this time either. It happens, I think, to be the circle of people involved. They all know each other around town. All play a lot of the same events. It's a family.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
sweet.
awesome, yeah.
I was like, hey, you're here. Hey, you're
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
How's it
exactly.
going? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and there's some overlap with the local Burning Man community too. So the Burning Man Regional, which I've also done, I took the Dome to that. That's a completely different thing. I mean, it's not a rave. It's a Burning Man Regional. It's 3,000 people. But still, there were a ton of people there that, hey, I know all of you people because they overlap with the same community.
right on.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
You want to get to those Twitter questions?
Dude, let's get to some Twitter questions, man.
Yeah.
I can
Okay,
never
I
say
haven't-
it right. Twitter.
I'm
Working on it.
unprepared.
All right.
Yeah, no,
right.
we're going in cold
Yeah.
with this.
No,
This is
that-
what you wanted, John.
Yeah,
So-
this is what John wanted.
That's what I
We asked-
said I wanted. You're supposed to save me from myself. Come on.
good interviewers, you got to respect your interviewee, and so sometimes it's appropriate to ask them, hey man, you want to take a peek at the questions that we got? But no, word man,
Brave man.
Okay.
brave dude.
Ginger. No, Marianne. That's right. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
What do you
So-
got first, man?
First question is, when did you start working with modular synths?
It's a two-parter. When I was in high school, which was a long time ago, I found the works of Isao Tomita, who was one of the early work with the Moog synthesizers, doing classical music, sort of like Wendy Carlos did. And he had lists of all of his gear in the album jacket. So these Moog 901A oscillator driver, 901B oscillator, 904A low pass filter, and all this list of incredible gear. And somehow I found the prices on this stuff, which was in today's dollars about $60,000 or $70,000 worth of stuff. And I was 15.
Yeah.
And actually didn't even have a paper route anymore. So, you know, at $5 or $2 a week or whatever it was going to take a while.
Yeah.
And so I bought some books on electronics on how to make, there were a couple of books out, how to make musical instruments with electronics. And I went down to Radio Shack, got electronics, never really got anywhere with it because it turns out you really need more than that to make music.
Yeah.
But it led to me being an electronics engineering major a few years later in college. And then which led to doing sound and other things through the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So I was out of it for a while. I was sort of in it for a while in the early 80s, then out of it for a long
Was that
time.
inspired by anything other than your interest in this music? Like, was your dad an engineer?
No. My father was a machinist. My stepfather
really
was a
cool.
welder.
Yeah.
And
This is all
Yeah.
self.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can't get much more 21st century
and we
than that.
didn't have the internet, we didn't have BBSs
Yeah.
or anything, and so if you were interested in some of these things, if you were very, very fortunate, you knew one or two other people who were. I wasn't very, very fortunate. I knew no one else who was.
Yeah.
Now we've got forums and everything that every interest under the sun
Oh, yeah.
has a forum.
Rule 34.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And about 4 years ago, about 5 years ago, actually, I popped my head up and looked around and I said, modular synthesizers are back. And we are now in the golden age. It was just really starting to ramp up then. And I started putting together what I have now about 4 years ago.
Okay.
But there was a gap of 30 years.
That's sweet, man. Oh yeah, that book. You were showing me that book.
Yeah, Delton T. Horn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which came out in the
Late 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
sweet, man.
So is this piece of kit right here? Is this like your baby? Do you have multiple other ones that you have built
That's
at
it.
home? This is your guy right here.
Yeah, that's small as these
Yeah.
things go. They tend to
I've seen
grow
them
and
get
grow.
enormous, yeah.
And they get much larger than that. But I've stopped there. It's an instrument that
Yeah.
sort of evolved over time and now is what I like to play.
You gonna keep building on it? No.
No, I'll make
Or
small
just
changes. I'm
kinda
developing some
changing
things.
stuff in and
Yeah.
out.
I almost brought something along for show and tell that's a breadboarded circuit. So the engineering stuff kind of comes along for the ride. And,
Yeah.
and between the electronics and the programming, I can scratch my own itch on if I need something to do something, then I can build it.
I love that, man.
That's so rad.
I love that.
Okay, Twitter. What else you got for us? What keeps you inspired and driven to keep working on music? That's
I
such a-
did see this question earlier pop up on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I talked to my wife on the
cheater.
phone. It wasn't my fault. You put it up there.
All right, let's skip this one then.
No. I actually told my wife this. told my wife the question, and we both laughed, and for the same reason. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I mean, if all I had was a couple of spoons to bang on my leg or something, I would probably be doing that.
That's the perfect answer.
Except I have no rhythm, but.
No,
robotic spoons.
Please.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to hear that nonsense.
No, my daughter's the drummer, but I have to.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing this, I would be doing something else. For a number of years, I didn't have a piano because of where I was living. I just physically couldn't move my piano places, so I learned guitar, kind of, and that's what I played for years. I have to. So I'm grateful that people don't throw fruit at me when I perform, because I do like performing live.
That's rad.
And I wonder, like, what's the thought process behind that question? Is that somebody, like, do they want to be inspired about something? Because if you don't have that itch, you should probably find what gives you that itch and then spend all of your energy on that,
Well, I think the deeper question, why do you have to do this?
Yeah.
Is it OCD behavior? Is it, striving for immortality because you're going to leave your mark on art?
Yeah.
Is it something in between? There's a lot of journeyman guitarists out there playing Sweet Home Alabama, 6 nights a week in bars. That's what they want to do, and it's fun. Yeah. And there's other people that are making so-called art, and that it pleases them and other people to call art.
Huge quotation marks.
Yeah, big quotation marks sometimes. And I don't go there. I have fun. I mean, it's not. Yeah. I think people take it a little too seriously. I have stickers all over this very expensive, even in the modular community, that's a fairly exotic instrument.
Is it?
And it's plastered with stickers. As a reminder, including a giant flying spaghetti monster on the back.
That's my favorite one.
To remind me not to take it so damn seriously.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun. Music ought to be fun. It ought to be loud. It ought to be huge and in your face. And I think what keeps me coming back is it's the live stuff, actually. Every time when I'm going into it, I question my own sanity. Why am I doing this? Because I'm not bringing it tonight. It's not going to be very good. And when I'm done, I'm like, oh, that's why I do this. Now I remember, because it's fun.
Yeah. It's awesome, dude.
All right, well, that begs the question, are you a Pastafarian?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have my religious headgear and everything.
That's awesome. Deep respect for you.
Right on, dude.
That's actually what we call it in our house. We don't, when we strain out the spaghetti, it's religious headgear. It's not a colander. It's
right on.
That's awesome.
He's half joking. I've been to his house.
I think he's less than half joking. I think he's like borderline dead serious right now.
It's always hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the best part.
What else did Twitter give us?
Twitter gave us a sleeping computer. Okay. What are your thoughts on the electronic music scene? Pros and cons.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Ooh.
That's kind of a huge question.
There is no con. I mean, if people are making music.
No con at all?
If people are making music in a way that makes them and other people happy, then it's good. What bad can there be out of that? People can look down. So, Deadmau5. Everybody. A lot of people, especially in the underground music scene, electronic music scene, love to hate on the guy because he's popular. He's using major chords.
He's using major chords.
It's happy. It's happy. Sometimes you feel good when you listen to it.
No, that's not allowed.
Yeah,
not feel good.
Oh, and he makes lots and lots and lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
And
big no.
I don't care. I think it's awesome. I think it's crank it as loud as possible, which we do in my house. My kids love it, and they love having a dad that will bring literally 2,700 watts worth of PA into the living room and turn it up to unsafe levels with Deadmau5 or whatever. Yeah. I think from whatever the so-called mainstream is all the way through to the experimental noise guys, which can get even louder. I think it's great. I think the exploration of all these new instruments and new approaches and new techniques leads to wonderful things. Sometimes not.
I also think you actually just brought up a really good point too specifically about Deadmau5 and other artists that are popular and making a lot of money. If you listen to his music, he also has a lot of experimental music too. And the thing is, that's hard to understand about the mainstream scene is that there's reasons why certain songs are popular, you know, and that's always the way it's going to be. Those certain songs that are making millions of dollars are going to be there, and a lot of the times, especially these days, you don't get to hear the rest of the album because people will just go on iTunes and buy that one song or whatever. But I mean, if you listen to a lot of these albums, you might be a little surprised at what's on there. If you listen to the whole thing from, you know, front to back, it's pretty crazy. And he has a lot of experimental stuff that if he just showed up with no head, and well, I think by now it's kind of, he's been showing his face, but you know, and just played a lot of the other stuff that's on the album, it would be really interesting to see if the reaction was the same, which I don't think it would be. So
I give him the other one that, you know, that people love to hate on is Skrillex, because it's just I can't like that. If I'm in this scene, I can't like that, and it's a very us versus them, and you know that gets some play in our house too. My wife probably likes Skrillex more than I do. She runs to it, you know, and thinks it's awesome. You know, it's loud, it's you know, somewhat formulaic, but there's some new things going on there. And the reason these things are popular is because they're good music with very good production values. You know, there's no secret. If you do great stuff, it does come through. And you can say, well, you know, maybe it's because you heard it too many times. Maybe that's what people object to. And they want to hear, you know, they're neophiles and they got to get the new, you know. And
What's your quote about how do you shut up a heckler? I love that one too.
Do you
remember what you told me one time? You said give them the microphone and tell them to do it.
Oh, yes. Well, that's the famous stand-up comedy. If you think this is easy, get up here and try it. Yeah. I haven't run into any hecklers, so I must not be popular yet. I think that's when you know you've arrived. When you got haters, yeah.
I think they're just scared of you. So,
maybe so. I don't know.
What else do we got?
This looks like the last one. What do you favor more when it comes to the bar crowd? Oh, the bar crowd.
Right.
Bar crowd or festival? Gabriel.
Bar crowd versus a festival.
We kind of got into that a little bit, but
Let's festival versus festival.
Yeah, let's do crowd versus festival.
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe. So, I feel like in a club thing, I go back and forth with this. There's sort of the being up on stage and being a performer versus being in the middle and making it more of a participatory thing in the club side of things. I think people expect more to be entertained. Okay, you're there, we're here, now entertain us. Where I feel like with the festival thing, you know, at 2 or 3 in the morning, you've already kind of built up and then dissipated this energy, at least, you know, on my stage, and I care a lot about the sequencing, so the sort of the story arc musically. Yeah. So by the time I come on, you know, they've already been in orbit for a while and are now taking off for the asteroid belt, and so I feel like I can just go explore, but I don't want to do it as a separate performer. I want to get out in the middle of people, and I think that's probably the difference. I try and do that in the club side, but it feels a little bit funny. I've actually done that. I've rolled a carpet out on the floor and just parked myself in the middle. And people are still standing there going, well, that's interesting. But I suppose to a certain extent you're there to satisfy yourself as a performer.
Yeah.
Both are good. Both are good. If anybody's there, especially somebody who's never been exposed to this stuff, and they walk away going, wow, that was new. I don't know if I ever want to do it again, but I experienced something new and it was cool, then mission accomplished.
I think also, too, when it comes to festivals versus clubs and bars or venues or whatever, oh, man, I forget who the person was that said this, so I don't want to say their name. I think it was this person, but I don't want to quote them. They said something really interesting. They said they changed their set based on if they're playing a festival or a club. And obviously you do that anyways sonically, but that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about specifically because when you're at a venue, those people are locked in. Unless there's a fire or something and they got to run out the door, you know, everyone that's there is there to see you. And they know you're going to be there and they know you're playing. As opposed to a festival, which is you might be going to see someone on the other side of the field and then just be going to get a drink, you know, and walking by one of the stages and go, oh, hey, I like this. I don't even know who this is. And then make your way to the stage. Yeah. So they were talking about how they change their sets and they play songs that, and like at festivals, I just kind of go crazy. And go all over the place, and at bars and venues and clubs and stuff, I know that I need to be playing more of what people are going to come to see me for, you know? So I think that's also like a huge deal too with festivals. And
well, it's a tough question for me to answer in general because I don't play a rehearsed set. I don't have songs. I have 3 albums worth of recorded material that I've put out and a lot of other things, but I play everything live. It's all improvisational, and you don't play the modular synth. You sort of manage it or don't manage it, as case may be.
Live, man.
Yes, and so I am not always sure exactly what's going to come out, except I've got something in mind. You know, maybe there's going to be, because of the gear I chose to bring, there's going to be some beats. We're going to have a kick in there. Or not, or I know it's going to be really drifty and spacey and out there. But as far as what really comes out, a lot of that has to do with what people respond to. It has to do with what I respond to, and it could go anywhere. I mean, and does. It does.
That's actually what got my interest in the first place with ambient music, modular synth music, because I'll be 100% honest right now. Not saying that I wouldn't have liked it if I heard it first, you know, on a SoundCloud or something like that. But, and actually, I guess you can say that with all live music. But there was just something about being live and being there and seeing it happen and watching, you know, people unplugging everything and watching the science behind it. You're just kind of going, wow, this could get ugly really quickly. And it was kind of like watching, you know, waiting, you know, we were talking about Monster Truck Madness, you know,
yes.
like waiting for, oh man, is he gonna make it? You
Someone
know,
could die.
Yeah, you know, like this could. And I've actually been at a show. I think we both were at a show one time. We went to go see somebody, and something like that did happen. Something just shifted the wrong way. I think the delay got out of control or something, and it was just the whole crowd was just ear piercing, and like the bass is just like rumbling.
It was a show we played, actually. It was
that?
The end. That was at the Kava place.
Yes, that's right.
In North Park.
That's right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so we played this gig, and it was, again, we were a little bit misbooked, I think. And the first guy who played was very extremely out there sort of noise experimental. He was doing this delay loop thing with this exotic, crazy instrument that I think is the only one like it. And it literally got away from him. It was my PA that was there, and I think he tried to destroy it. I mean, it literally
it sounded like the world was about to end.
Yeah, it
like,
really
it was
did.
like, oh, this is it. Like, we're done.
Or my speakers were about to end. It was one or the other. But yes, things like a show or two ago for Fully Patched had a guy, the gear malfunction. And the way it was malfunctioning, it was losing power, and it was a big thwap across the PA, which is super loud at Kava Lounge. It's very, very powerful for a small room. And we thought it was like this really just crushing kick sound because it kept coming in sort of with the beat is where it was losing power. And you know, he's up there, you know, freaking out a little bit. I'm like, no, man, keep it coming. Whatever you're doing, it's great. And it's he gave up because about half his gear was like cutting in and out.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, keep on doing it. I don't care. You know, it's up to the sound guys to protect his system. It's not my job. You know, it's our job to try and blow it up.
Dang, man.
What's like the craziest, like near catastrophic or catastrophic thing that's happened to you while playing a gig?
The first one, it wasn't catastrophic in the sense of gear malfunction. It was catastrophic on what was the inner dialogue. I'm up there, and I got booked on a day's notice. I was still trying to get the night for the show at Kava Lounge, and they had a whole night cancel on them. And said, "Can you come in and play?" Like, I've never played a 30-40 minute live set. You know, it's very hard to do. And in retrospect, I was nuts to try it without a lot of rehearsal. And I said, "Sure." And so I show up, and I'm playing, and the monitoring was not good. I wasn't prepared for that. And so I couldn't hear what I was doing. And a lot of what I do relies on really knowing where delays fall and very precise understanding of the sound. And it was not doing what it was supposed to do. Man. And I'm looking at the people around me who are, looking at me because I've got this crazy looking thing, and, they're very interested. I'm like, you poor people. I feel so bad. I'm sorry. Can I please leave now? And Gabe was there. That's where we met. And then it came together towards, so the last 15 or 20 minutes, it kind of came together. It was like, and you know,
I did not feel that way, by the way.
I'm having cardiac issues. I'm just like, and anybody who's ever performed and just totally bombed, or I used to do speech and debate in high school, and it was impromptu. So they give you a list of topics. You pick one of 3, and you get up and you talk for 5 minutes and try to be interesting. And you can bomb really badly doing that. And it's the worst feeling in the world, and you just want to go away. Not ever do this again. So that was probably the worst. And everything since then has been pretty easy.
It's pretty cool, man.
No, I mean, if it blows up, it blows up, and I'll declare victory. You know, it's
sweet, dude. I think that's all the time we got right now.
Definitely.
Actually,
all right. Well, go to Eternal.
March
21st.
March
Come
21st.
to California. You will find it as Eternal Family Circus 7.0 on Facebook. It's really cheap. It's still $30 until the end of the month. For what's essentially 2 nights. You can show up on Friday and potluck it and get to know everybody, maybe chip in, help set up, pay a little bit extra, get in the hot tubs. They have hot springs out there.
Right now.
And then the party kicks off at noon on Saturday, goes through 5 p.m. on Sunday. And we're doing a little longer sets this time, so 90 minutes for the DJs. The headliners will go a little longer, so they got some time to build up a nice groove.
Rad.
Camping.
Oh, yeah.
Camping. It's $40 at the door. I mean, you know, it's like going to a movie.
Yeah.
And it's just
it's gonna be rad.
fantastic, welcoming bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah, we'll drop links in the video description and all that kind of good stuff.
Right
Yeah, right
there.
Right there.
Over there somewhere.
Yeah, right there.
Or over yeah. Full one over there.
Somewhere in the
We'll just cover the
Yeah.
entire screen in links.
Announce it.
So, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching our number 2 episode of the DLOD show live at Meltdown.
Yes.
Speaking of which, thank you so much, Meltdown, for letting us do this show. If you guys get a chance, go check out Meltdown. They're on Sunset Boulevard up there in Hollywood, or LA, depending on what you call it.
Cool you are.
On how cool you are. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching our episodes. We really appreciate it. Go check us out on Facebook. Check out Battlecast.
You can do that.
Check out the Digital Lizard of Doom on Instagram, social media, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for that, for not giving our exact links, but we'll put them up.
No,
we'll try to throw them around.
Sprinkle them all in there.
Yeah. So for now, our password for the week is fully patched. And what that password gets you is if you come down to the air-conditioned lounge where we are right now, you get half off your first round. You cannot beat that. So go check that out. Password is fully patched. So from when this episode airs, that password will only last you a week. So you got to come in within that week or else it's not going to work. So come down to the air-conditioned lounge in North Park, San Diego, California.
Get on Google, find it.
It's really easy to find. It's the only air-conditioned lounge in the world that you'll ever be able to find. So thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. Peace.
This has been the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown. 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 Meltdown.